And we are live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the after show. Ryan, how are you doing today? Ryan has kindly pointed out that we started late. We did start late. That's my bad. I just get so excited and then I create the thumbnail and things stack up. We're here now. Name's Kazi. How are you doing? Michael Hauser, how are you doing? Welcome. It's great to have you. Cubing Classroom Fan 432, welcome. Great to have you. Good evening. Dennis is back. Hopefully, Dennis, how are the thunderstorms over there?
It's quiet out right now, which is always a plus. Which is
Love to hear that.
cool as Fox, you might say.
Yeah, Dennis got merch from Mint Mobile, you guys. So, want to give them a little plug, Dennis? What did you get?
Yeah, so Aaron North, super cool guy. We had him on as a guest. Hooked me up with some more free Mint Mobile gear, which I'm happy to represent. I'm wearing the Ultra shirt that I got from last time around, but then I got some new stuff. Like their main theme with this new round of merchandise is like cool as Fox. I got a deck of playing cards.
It's honestly super cool merch.
Yeah, I got a deck of playing cards. It's like mint branded on the back, like like cards. And I got like nice shirts that are like this that aren't like super crazy. Well, hold on, let me hold on.
The green screen is making it go crazy.
Yeah, like wait.
Dennis, you fix that. Hi, MS. Welcome to the chat. Akela, welcome. There. We're doing well. Sky Chunk, welcome. Tech Guy X, Save. How are you doing? And that is a cool shirt. I can't actually read that.
It just says Minty on it. It just says Minty on it, which is super like not that crazy, but it's just a nice green shirt.
Yeah.
But to get back to the ones that are a little bit more on the not so tame side, you got ones like this.
What does it say? Seriously, foxing, awesome. That's great.
Yeah, I mean, just to be clear, it says seriously foxing. We said foxing, awesome.
Yeah, they say that. They're very clear.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So basically, cool. Oh wait, there's one more shirt. Well, there's two more.
One more shirt. Jeez, Dennis got all the goodie bag. Like,
well, there's actually two more shirts, but as far as ones that are worth showing off, like this one is a new design that is cool.
Look at this. Wow. Oh, that is super cool. Like Verizon doesn't have good merch. I don't see people walking around in their Verizon merch.
But yeah, I figured it'd be cool to show it off for one, and to two, as to pay respects to Aaron. Just to be clear here, like he didn't sponsor anything today. He just hooked me up with free gear. But like, I feel like part of being hooked up with free merch is that you showed off to people. So that's what I wanted to do real quick.
You know what Mint needs? A beanie.
Yeah, Aaron, if you're listening to this, you should invest in making a beanie for Dennis, because Dennis would wear the beanie all the time. Yeah, just my own custom lineup of stuff. You can do it for winter. Line. They can release it for winter.
Austin, we're pretty sure Dennis wears a beanie 24/7 now.
Actually, the secret is that the beanie's actually attached to my head. That's what it is.
Yeah. Oh man, Tech Guy X, right? They used to be called Mint Sim. Had to rebrand to Mint Mobile. But I'm actually excited to just dive into the topics for the after show. Like Dennis, you found these articles, and I was like, "Whoa, this is super cool." Initially skeptical because Dennis leading statement. Yeah, did you hear about that car? Let's talk about this car. I'm thinking like, great, like a car, automotives, telecom, no connection whatsoever. But check this out. This is actually on T-Mobile's news page, and it's this car startup company called Halo in Las Vegas. They're launching a driverless car powered by T-Mobile 5G. This is pretty cool. So what's going on here? What's the concept behind the driverless car? Basically, it's like an Uber without a driver. You want to get from point A to point B. You summon the car with the tap of a button. The car navigates around the roads. It's using T-Mobile 5G to, track its location and stuff. That was pretty vague, but it gets to you, and then you hop in and it chauffeurs you around. Des, what were your initial impressions from seeing this news?
So I think it was Uber actually did something similar in Pittsburgh. Although this was a couple years back, so it was on LTE. But I just
Yeah,
thought it was cool. I thought it was cool because this is like the first real use of like 5G. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's part of that whole thing of like, this is what 5G is going to allow to happen type of deal.
yeah.
And I think it's pretty dope. I would totally be down for a self-driving vehicle to get me from point A to point B. I know I don't like driving. Stetson, you might like driving, but I don't. Uh, and plus, if this ever does actually take off across the country and stuff like that, I would argue it's a lot safer than relying on like an Uber, especially if you're,
Yeah.
maybe having a night out with the gals or the boys. Being able to take one of these would be definitely better than you trying to drive yourself home or being intoxicated on a bus or whatever other ways you would get home on.
100%. And yeah, there's a lot going on here. So I think we gotta step back. We gotta think about how do driverless cars typically work? And I'll just take like a Tesla, for example. I feel like they're kind of paving the way for this. At least they're known for their self-driving autopilot capabilities. The car is using cameras on the vehicle, multiple cameras, to build a 3D model of the world around it, to see the road, see the lane lines, see the breakdown lane, things like that, compute everything absurdly quickly, and make real time decisions. What this car company, Halo, is doing is they're actually using the 5G network that T-Mobile has. And I'd be curious after this, Dennis, like, do we need 5G? Could this be done over LTE? But what they're doing is they're using T-Mobile 5G to train drivers to remotely operate the driverless car. So it's like you have a driver, but instead of being in the vehicle, it sounds like they're in a remote location that's able to control these cars. And then it says using an advanced artificial intelligence algorithm, the car also learns in the background while the humans control the vehicle, building a unique feedback loop to achieve level 3 compatibilities over time. So they're building this model, building this data, training this algorithm to drive their cars autonomously. And this is kind of neat. Halo graduated the 5G Open Innovation Lab, co-founded by T-Mobile. And it's kind of occurring to me now, you may not be able to read this because we're streaming in 720p right now. We gotta upgrade ours. But this company includes executives from Uber, Cruise Robotics, Proterra, Amazon, and more. And it's poised to serve a global $2.5 trillion transportation market. So it's pretty neat. Dennis, do you think this needs 5G?
Um, I think excuse me. I think ultimately yes. Because if you think about it, like think about when you want to go from point A to point B now with like Google Maps, right? You need to have some
Yeah,
type of data connection just to have an idea of like Rex and other reporting data that's on the road because things change like all the time. Like by the nature of this trying to be self-sufficient, it needs to be connected to the internet if it's going to be serving the purpose of like an Uber because it needs to, well, map itself out and know where to go. Obviously, there needs to be sensors on the car itself so it can do like processing locally, but having that connection will allow for more robust, sophisticated features that localized hardware wouldn't be able to process with current day processing. So it enables developers to be a little bit more flexible. Maybe you have like a hive mind of all kinds of other information that's being processed as like at the main source so that the car can make even more accurate decisions. You know what I mean? And you can
absolutely.
incorporate other safety features and monitoring as well in place to make sure the car isn't misbehaving.
Yeah, yeah. No, I like that. And I think the big thing with 5G is probably going to be the latency. What's funny to me is the language here. It's saying driverless vehicles require a network with high capacity, broad coverage, and low latency, making T-Mobile's 5G a perfect match for developers such as Halo. I would almost think Verizon's ultra wideband 5G would be the perfect match here. Dennis, what do you think about this?
I mean, I agree ultra wideband's better, but I'll also just say like T-Mobile has done a decent job at like providing low latency over N700 and NR41. You know what I mean? I mean the
Yeah,
ping times are generally sub 20 millisecond, which pretty freaking good You know,
Yeah,
uh,
100%.
I mean, obviously the goal is to get this close to one as possible, but I mean, 20 milliseconds and less is serviceable, and N71 does provide a lot better coverage than whatever band millimeter wave is deployed on for Verizon.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I think this is pretty cool. I think this might be the first application of 5G, like one of the first real applications of 5G, right? Because we've had on Peter Adderton and he's been what's the killer app? Like what's the 5G app? People are not really convinced that like your phone is going to do anything different. And I think with 5G, we're starting to look beyond the phone, beyond your tablet, beyond your laptop, like what other applications that require real time, low latency communication or anything else? How can we use that? And it seems like driverless cars is kind of paving the way for the future.
I believe so. I'm also looking forward to the next step eventually being improvements in telemedicine because
Yeah,
they talked a good game on that, but I think that is probably the most important thing facing our country because if you go out into rural America, you just don't have access to the same medical opportunities of care as you would if you lived in an urban environment. So I think this would help bridge a huge divide in medical access for the country if we can get to that point.
yeah, yeah. I would say even there's some areas where, telemedicine can make sense, but the people living in those areas can sometimes be so rural that they don't even have the internet solution fast enough for the telemedicine. And we just got a super chat from Mark. Mark, thank you. I think you're joining us from Washington State, Seattle, Washington. So thank you for tuning in. We always love having you, having your support. Mark, you're a Pixel user, right? Because we got some tasty Pixel news that I
Yeah,
think would be fun to cover.
let's bring it up, man.
All right, this is what we got. This is an exclusive from Front Page Tech. Our friend John Prosser over there reporting, as always, with hot takes, crazy beautiful renders with renders by Ian and more. And I'm just going to link this article in the chat right now. Like John deserves all the credit. Check out his channel, his website, his video, his work. We're just talking about it, having a grand old discussion about it. And he actually leaked this back in May. Pixel 6 and Pixel 6 Pro and kind of this polarizing two-tone design. I think the more I see it, the more I'm liking it, the more I'm coming around to it. And I liked it a lot from the beginning too. But then should we get to the final specs here?
Yeah, let's look at them.
Here we got them. Pixel 6, codename Oriole. And Mark, we're getting rid of your comments so we can read all of these. Screen size, 6.4 inches, AMOLED display. Rear camera setup, we're getting a 50 megapixel wide and a 12 megapixel ultra wide. So Google's going with that wide and ultra wide combo. And I think this is actually going to be really good because 50 megapixels is huge. And you can crop in on that. And I think that'll give you like the 2x, 4x kind of zoom capabilities. Front camera, 8 megapixels, 4,600 milliamp hour battery. We're using that Google processor, which was codenamed Whitechapel, 8 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs, 256 gigs of storage, and Android 12.
I want to look at the Pro though because there's something perplexing to me
Pro.
about the Pro.
Drum roll. So we got Pro, codenamed Raven, slightly bigger screen, 6.71 inches, plastic OLED. Oh,
Yeah, that's the thing that caught me off guard. That's a little.
what is that?
That's what.
That's disgusting.
That's what caught me off guard. I'm a little bit perplexed by that.
Yeah.
Any thoughts, Stetson?
This needs to be explained. That's what that needs to be. Like, does the plastic relate to the OLED in some way? Is there greater optical clarity? I mean, glass has just been the best go-to material because of its combination of scratch resistance and drop resistance and the optical clarity. Like, if you use plastic on a screen, you're gonna get scratched up like crazy. It's like those cheap Timex watches you wear as a kid that have that plastic covering and they just get nicked up so you can't even see the watch face hardly.
Yeah, plastic scratches easily, but it is way more drop resistant. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, I mean, What if, Dennis, what if you had a plastic OLED and put a glass screen protector on it? Thoughts
I
on
don't know.
that?
I don't even know. I'm just surprised that one is using AMOLED tech and one's using OLED, plastic OLED. That's what I don't
That's
understand.
so
Like to
weird.
me,
Yeah,
AMOLED is better, you know.
I have no
But
idea.
but
Let's
that
see the
was one
camera
thing.
setup.
The camera
Yeah,
setup's good, dude. It's a 50 megapixel wide plus a 48 megapixel telephoto.
that's huge. I love that. I love the telephoto. This might be a contender for the best camera setup for 2021.
And look at the front camera too. It's got a bump there too. 12 megapixels versus 8 for the front camera on the Pro.
Wow, good call, Dennis. Good eyes. Good eyes. We're also getting that bump in battery
And
and
RAM.
RAM.
Yeah.
Jeez. Dude, this Pro is actually looking pro.
I mean, minus the screen.
Minus the screen. I mean, here's the thing though, Dennis, right? You can't ship a Pro device without a Pro screen. So what is this going to be? We're seeing Marcus saying POLED for cost, durability. Here we go. Ryan, thank you for tuning in, my friend. The plastic refers to the substrate used in the screen, not the thing you touch. Wow,
Oh.
that is really, really cool. We don't know which modem at this time, David. Our guess, I think, do you think X55?
For the
I don't think the X60 is going to be ready for it, right?
I mean,
Or am I,
well, it
what's
says
in
both
the,
devices are going to support Wi-Fi 6E, so it means it has to be. Wait a minute, hold up. Wait, Stats, you're doing that thing again. X55 is in the Snapdragon. Uh, it's in the last year's Snapdragon.
yeah. So it's in the iPhone. So we're already on the X60. So it should be the X65. That's the new one, right?
Yeah, but it'll probably be the X60, is what I was going to say. Yep,
Yeah, yeah,
there we go.
yeah. Okay, so that was me. I was a generation behind.
Yeah, so it'll probably have the
Yeah.
X60 because it supports Wi-Fi 6E, so it has to be the X60 or later.
Yep, yep. I think I think you're right. And Google's notorious for having great certifications, great support on both Wi-Fi and 5G bands. So I think we're going to get that X60 modem.
Well, it
Yeah.
has to be the
Thank you.
X60.
Yeah, thank you, Names Kazi, for keeping me up to date on that. Wow, Andy is saying trade my S21 for those specs.
I don't know, man. Snapdragon 888 is pretty decent. I'm
Yeah, because
I'm
this is going to be Google's first processor. This is like the big question mark with this, right?
yeah, I'm curious to see what the performance looks like. Not just CPU performance, but graphical performance as well. I'm gonna be really curious to see what that looks like. But I think this is pretty cool. Um, my only problem is that Google doesn't really have a good reputation for making flagships. That's never really been like their shtick. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I'm gonna be curious to see what performance looks like and where the price point they're targeting is with this too. Because I'm gonna be honest, like if this phone was, let's just say the Pixel 6 comes in hot at a nice, say, $450, that's a phone I would consider. Pixel 6 comes in at like $1,000, in no world do I consider it. You know what I mean?
I think the 6 is going to be 800. I think the 6 Pro is going to be 1,000.
I'm gonna say the 6 is gonna come in at like 500. Yeah, 500. I say the 6 comes in at 500
Well, what
because
is the
it's
current Pixel 5 going for?
Pixel 5.
Oh, don't give me the monthly financing.
It
It
is
looks like it's
going.
700.
But does the Pixel 5 even sell?
Yeah, it's 700, 699.
Jesus
That
almighty.
that might actually be it, Dennis. They might start the regular 6 at just that 699 price point and do 6 Pro at 999.
I mean, they can do that, but I'm telling you now, it's not going to sell at those
Yeah, I think
prices.
the 6 I mean, this actually looks pretty decent to me though. Like the specs look good. It's like that good
I mean,
mid-range high end.
the reason I said 500 is because it would put it in line with like Samsung's like A52.
I think they're going up against the flagships with this.
They ain't winning it. I'll tell you that. They ain't
Why
winning
why are
against.
they not winning it? What do you think about that?
I mean, if you think flagship, if you think high end, right? It has to have every single bell and whistle, and first and foremost, it has to be eye catching, right, to the average consumer. This is not an eye catching phone. Or let me
I
rephrase
disagree.
that.
I think that this is eye-catching. I love it.
But in the wrong way. It is an ugly looking phone.
An eyesore. No, I think this is great. Yeah. Plus, Dennis, you're
Yeah,
getting 5 years of software updates.
yeah, but Samsung extended their software support. I want to say to like what 3 years?
Yeah, Dennis, they can't even ship a phone with a feature they say it has that they need to quote unquote provide a software update to enable. Okay, that's eSIM. eSIM has been promised for 2 years now. Has it been delivered? No, no.
I mean, I'll just say this: I'm excited. I've had an Nexus 6P before, never owned any of the Pixel lineup, even though they offered to replace the Nexus 6P for a Pixel for me. But
Yeah,
it's exciting. I want to see what the processor performance looks like. I'll try to be fairly open minded, even though I think it looks ugly because the specs, at least on spec paper sheet, look decent, depending on how that Google processor performs.
yeah, yeah. What do you think it's missing to really compete with a flagship? I think their 6 Pro is flagship level. I think it's got the RAM, it's got the battery, I think it's got the camera setup and the screen. Like this is looking great to me.
Um, what's it missing? Well, I don't see any talk about wireless charging. Uh,
Or I'm assuming it's going to have wireless charging underneath the screen fingerprint reader. This looks like sort of Google's version of an S21 in my eyes.
mm,
Mark is saying, Dennis, it looks unique. Yep, that's a nice, safe way to say that.
uh-huh. Yeah.
And our friend Debo Bop is saying it has to have every flagship feature while simultaneously bringing innovation to the table.
That
I
that is a great way to put it. That is what you got to do to be successful in the flagship space. That's actually really accurate.
I think maybe I think Google's strength is just their software and their camera features. I think what Google can do with these cameras and what they're gonna do with these cameras, I think is gonna knock our socks off for low light performance, portrait mode, things like that. I think that's going to be the real strength of this phone, and we're just going to have to wait and see how Google presents that in their keynote event.
Unpopular opinion, real quick, Stetson, but I want to ask you an honest question.
Yeah,
Can you even tell the difference between a Galaxy S8 and a Galaxy S21 when you're looking at it on Instagram?
I haven't been looking for that particularly. I would like to think I could tell the difference if it's the same photo. If there were two different photos on Instagram, the truth is I may not be able to tell.
Well, I'm going to answer something for you. Do you remember Techno Buffalo? John from
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
he did a
yeah,
video one time on YouTube where he literally took like the camera footage from like iPhone 12 Pro, Galaxy like S20, and like Pixel at the time, and he was taking like pictures and stuff like that, and it was like a blind like flavor thing. And answer was no one could tell which phone took which. Uh and Instagram, I picked Instagram because Instagram's compressed to everything almighty, and there's
yeah,
going to be filters and everything else that are on top of it. You're still not going to be able to tell which phone is which. So outside of unless you're like blowing up the picture and it's raw format for like Photoshop on your 4K iMac, I don't think the camera really matters. Like it just needs to be good enough. Is it clear? Can it zoom? Can it be relatively color accurate? Like awesome. And 9 times out of 10 anyway, these phones are usually using the same sensors from Sony. And the
yeah.
reason why you
That's
see a different
true.
image is because of the post processing, which goes back to Google having great software, but like it goes back to my point though, it just needs to be good enough.
Yeah,
So
I don't know.
I
I hear what you're saying. I'm actually still super excited about these, and Mark is bringing up my favorite feature, Android 12. Like these, I think are going to feel just so great in the hand. I think the software is going to be delightful to use. I think the cameras are going to be outstanding. Wireless performance is going to be awesome. The actual one thing it's missing for me is Samsung's, what do you call that? It's like field test mode for Samsung devices. That's what it's missing.
Um, also something else that's missing to me: ecosystem.
That's
It
true.
doesn't.
That's. Do you think we'll get a watch at this event?
I don't know. I mean, Google, but I want to go back to my main point though. Like Android has an ecosystem, but Google doesn't make its own family of products really, or quality product ecosystem. Like
Yeah, I
Samsung,
mean, they're like trying to, but like not quite there yet.
and I think that's just as important when you buy your phone. Like, ironically enough, like I bought an LG smart fridge, LG smart washer, and LG smart dryer. Now I
Oh
say
my
ironically
gosh.
because LG's not on the phone game anymore, but it does play really nicely with my Samsung phone because it has that smart connect app that like works
Yeah.
really well.
Oh, no way. That's actually super cool.
Yeah, like my smart home stuff works really well with my Samsung phone. Uh Stock Android I know has like Google Home, but it doesn't necessarily work as nicely, ironically enough, as Samsung's variant. In the same way that Samsung Pay, in my personal opinion, is better than Google Pay, even though Samsung totally neutered it with the S21 by removing the little MagSafe strip. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
yeah, like with Samsung Pay, you could do it on an actual card reader, whereas with like Google Pixel phones, you have to actually use NFC. But
yeah.
I don't know. I'm excited for it. I just want to see what the performance looks like. Uh, I just need to know what it costs because the cost is going to dictate how I feel about it. If they try to price it at
Yeah.
$1,000, I think it's going to flop. If the try to price it more in line with like an FE edition, like what Samsung did, I think it could do pretty well.
Well, yeah, what's your ideal price point Pixel 6 Pro?
Ideal price point would look like this. Normal Pixel 6 would be somewhere around the $500 mark for the base version. So
Yeah.
$500 for the 128 gig, and then you could say 600 for the 256 gig. And then Pixel 6 Pro would be like maybe 700, 750 for the base version, and then 850, 950 for the absolute max storage. They
Yeah.
just they're not allowed to, if they want to be successful, they're not allowed to go above the $1,000 mark is basically what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Well, I do love those prices you outlined, Dennis, and I think that would really help their sales and marketing. I think, yeah, I'm just excited for this fall. I think with the new iPhones and the new Pixel phone, yeah, I think it'll be great. I mean, here's the slight dilemma is that I feel like I've been comparing Pixel 6 rumors with current iPhone 12 and Galaxy S1 devices, S21 devices. But when Pixel 6 comes out, it's going to have like a month. Then we're getting iPhone 12s. And then just a couple months later in January, we're getting S22. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see. And David's kind of saying 699 and 899. David, I think you're probably right on that. I think that's probably what Google will do. But maybe
They
they'll do
might,
like a
but they
carrier discount.
yeah, they might do something like that, like Apple did. And also, I don't know. I mean, I feel like Google's learned a lot from their A series, right? Like they clearly saw that the
Yeah.
A series is what sells, right? And we did see that even if they're showing $700 or whatever on their website, you can find Pixel 5s for way cheaper than that. You know what I
Oh my
mean?
God. Shout out to Swappa. Yeah.
Well, not even just swap it, but like I'm talking about like just the carrier deals in
Get
general.
one
Like I swear
free.
to God, Verizon always has the Pixel on like some type of deal. You know?
Yeah. Here we go. Here we go. So this is actually kind of interesting. Debo Bob is saying Google Pixel 6, Pixel Buds 3, a Chromebook. How does that sound to you guys? As someone who desperately depends on being productive, could you survive using the Google ecosystem? See previous comment.
No.
Uh, Dennis's immediate no. I can do yes for phone, no for computer. And the reason I say that is Pixel books, Chromebooks, they're not as powerful as I need them to be, and they don't run my software that I use on a daily basis to execute on my creative video editing, photo editing, creating thumbnails. The Pixel Buds, though, those actually don't really fit my ears super well. They pop out. But other than that, like the phone is awesome. It actually has the focus mode that I really like. where all the apps that are distracting for me personally get dimmed out. And I love how the phone goes to grayscale on a set time. But yeah, and Ramil is correct here. The ecosystem is in the Google Apps, Maps, Docs, Calendar, etc.
Yeah, to clarify my point real quick, phone, yes, I can survive with pretty much any phone, even a Motorola, right? Like
Yeah,
I can do that. Pixel Buds, sure. The Chromebook was my sticking point. Going back to what Stetson said, it lacks all things Microsoft Office related,
yeah.
and
Like you
that
just
immediately kills anything productivity wise. If you're trying to do actual work. But more importantly, Chrome is books basically just run Chrome web browser essentially. If it's an extension, great. If not, it sucks, right? So if
yeah,
you gave me a Chromebook, honest to God, the first thing I would do is I would just try to find a Chromebook that has an Intel processor side of any kind, and then I would immediately just wipe the hard drive or SSD on it, and I would probably throw Linux on it because Linux can run on a Chromebook. Linux can run on anything. Now, I
yeah,
personally don't like using Linux. I'd rather just use Windows because it just works, especially if you're trying to game and stuff. But I'd rather use Linux over Chrome-based OS. So that's what would end up
yeah,
happening. And then I'd be sad because Chrome doesn't have a Chrome browser on Linux. So I'd probably just end up using Firefox because that would become my de facto browser, and I'd be real sad. But no, I would not want that ecosystem. I like my Windows PC. Although Windows 11 shutters. We'll see what happens in the future, though.
absolutely, absolutely. Just trying to see. There's another phone in the news, Dennis, that we got to cover, and I'm surprised to be saying this. It's the Asus phone for Snapdragon fans. Showcases Qualcomm tech. It's a new Asus phone, and it's like basically a Qualcomm Snapdragon phone. It's got a Snapdragon logo on the back, triple camera setup. It even has Snapdragon sound, wireless buds. And so Qualcomm has partnered with Asus for a flagship class phone called the quote smartphone for Snapdragon insiders. Asus is making, selling, and supporting the phone. It's available next month for $1,500, $1,499. Phone will have unprecedented support for all 4G and 5G networks worldwide in one SKU.
And one SKU.
One SKU. Wow. Includes all major US networks and all 4 millimeter wave 5G bands. That's pretty cool.
Woohoo! Yeah, this is an exciting phone. It is decked out. First off, one thing I want to say, I appreciate it has a rear fingerprint reader.
Yes, that is the best spot for a fingerprint reader. No one can convince me
Agreed.
otherwise.
Agreed. 100% agree. But dude, go back down, dude. It has 144 hertz for screen. Like it is. Well, you might
Yep,
want to zoom out like a
HDR10
smidge.
plus, 4 microphones, 64 megapixel main camera. We got a 12 megapixel wide angle macro, 8
512
megapixel.
gigs of storage.
Jeez, this is
16
packing.
gigs of RAM.
Yeah, wow, wow.
Dude, this thing is balling, man.
65-watt fast charging.
Oh, zero bloatware. Qualcomm promises zero bloatware on the device.
Nice.
Dude, dude, this is what a Pixel could have been.
2 premium braided USB cables. Dennis, this
Yeah,
is like a great phone.
it is. Uh,
Interesting. The phone comes
how do
with
you buy
Android
it?
11, and Qualcomm is promising 4 years of security updates, not necessarily Android software updates.
How do you buy it though?
Midnight Blue with red accents and will be available in August, unlocked from Asus's website. If we go to the main link here, this is the official Qualcomm post on it, and it's going to be from Asus, I think. Is this going to take us to Asus? Yeah. Now we get some nice little imagery going on. Look at this website.
I mean, this has the
Clean design.
potential. This has the
No
potential to be one
notch.
of the. But dude, this phone has the potential to be one of the best Android phones to compete with iPhone because we talked about iPhone being great for travelers and stuff like that. It's one SKU, so it
Yeah.
has support for literally like all the bands.
You know what this needs to really take it to the next level?
eSIM.
eSIM or dual physical SIM.
Mm. Dual physical SIM might be better than eSIM, honestly.
I would say it is better. 100%. Okay, this is a
Honestly,
gaming.
if Asus wanted to hook me up with one of these, I'd be totally down.
It looks great. Is it going to be huge? What's the screen size on this?
Um,
Yeah. What do you guys think in the comments?
it reminds me of an S9 Plus.
iCarus is saying they should give you two USB cables because it's the cost of two phones. That's fair. That's very fair. I mean, you're kind of
but it's
getting everything.
accessories that come with it, though. If you read it, there's accessories that come with it too. I think it comes with headphones.
Yeah, you're getting your premium earbuds, your quick charge, your bumper. Still though, I mean it is expensive. Like you can get iPhone 12 starting at $830 and
Well, wait a
iPhone 12
minute.
Pro $1,000.
Well, wait a minute. 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 You're comparing it against the wrong thing. If you compare it to an iPhone 12 Pro Max, which is what this would really
Okay.
be in comparison to, and you compare it to the max decked out version of that phone, because remember, it's 512 gigs of storage. You know what I'm saying?
I guess that's true.
An iPhone 12 Pro Max, let's see, price.
Whoa, Dennis, it is dual SIM. It's
Oh!
dual physical SIM. Yeah, let's
Oh!
go.
Dude, this is the phone to get if you're in the US and want actual dual SIM support. This is the phone. Oh my god, that is
Look at all
sweet.
these
I really
bands.
want this now,
Oh my god. Oh
dude.
my god.
Does this work with
Dual
Verizon?
SIM
Is this
slots.
certified? Is it certified for Verizon?
It's gotta be. It's got unprecedented network support. That's what it said. Wow.
Dude,
Wow.
I'm not gonna lie.
Do we get one?
We should, dude. Audience, real quick in the chat right now. Do you think Stetson and I should get this phone and review it? Like, do you think we should test this out on the carriers and actually review it?
Yeah.
Can we get some comments
Am I
in
a
the chat?
viewer? Do I get to? Yes, please. What do you guys think? Do we get this?
Obviously, you would say that, Stetson. I mean, you were going to test out the OnePlus if I didn't stop you.
Yeah, it's true. I gotta sell all my iPhones and buy this. Like this.
Oh
is
wait,
the
dude, it
phone
says
to
they have a
get.
Samsung. Wait, hold up, dude, go back up. They're using a Samsung AMOLED display. Look.
Display. Yeah, Samsung AMOLED.
Oh, by the way,
144 hertz.
6.8 inches, dude.
That's huge. Oh, not what I wanted to see, but still pretty good. Corning Gorilla. I like how they name everything. Like main camera, Sony flagship IMX 686 64 megapixel sensor. Like this is what everyone is using, and they don't have the courage to say it's the Sony sensor.
I
love
appreciate
that.
the transparency in that too, so you know exactly what you
Yeah.
get. I mean,
Oh
dude, from a
man.
spec sheet standpoint, this thing is freaking baller. Oh, on a side note, by the way, Stetson, 512 gigabit version of the iPhone 12 Pro Max before tax is $1,400.
Yeah, so it's right in line. Oh man, this is just the fact that this has dual physical SIM slots makes it infinitely better than any iPhone could ever be. Like, I mean, there was the iPhone 10 that did have dual physical SIM slots. That was great. But
Wait, the iPhone 10 had
yeah.
what?
Yep. iPhone 10 Chinese version, dual physical SIM slots.
Oh, yeah, but that's always how it is. The South Korean version of Samsung phones also gets dual physical SIM. Same thing with.
We're getting totally ripped off here in the United States. Wow.
But dude, I'm being
man.
dead serious. Like, I actually think, I think this would be something fun to review. Like, you could test it out because it's literally like the stock default. Compare it against like iPhone performance as far as like LTE goes and stuff like that. And
this would be so fun.
This would be a fun phone to test.
Kree is saying 100% of course. How about
Stetson,
dual SIM and expandable?
Stetson, I'll go half and half on you.
Oh my god, Dennis.
Dude, we'll split it 50-50.
But Dennis, what if I want to keep it? What if I fall in love with this thing?
You're not going to fall in love. You're an iPhone guy.
I'm an iPhone guy. Dude, I have to sell all of my other phones and get this phone. That is for sure. That is for sure.
Dead serious behind the scenes. We'll talk about it. I'm down to go 50-50 on it for you.
This is
I
amazing.
I think we should review it because like I feel like no one's gonna be reviewing this phone. Like this
Yeah, I
could be
mean,
fun.
I actually think Marquez Brownlee, I think people will get this. We'll have to wait and see. Dennis, I'm so this is the most excited I've been for a phone in a long time. And it's
Right?
wow.
Honestly, I'm surprised something like this hasn't happened sooner from Qualcomm if you think about it.
Yeah, dude, you're so right. Like they make the chips. It was just like, what if they just made the phone? They're like, yeah, this is how we optimize the performance, optimize the processor, the graphics. Oh, this is just gushing 5G goodness on all levels.
I mean,
And
kind
Dennis, because it's physical, I could get two of them and have all four networks good to go wherever I go.
I have a question though. It and I was just thinking about this. There's no other Android phones that have all the band support? Am I stupid? Like,
Um, I think Samsung and Pixel are usually the best, but I think they're missing like a couple bands of millimeter wave. Like if it's not in the US, sometimes they won't include it. That's what I'm
mm,
thinking. It's just like a couple here and there. I mean, let's take a look at this. N71, N79, like I don't think some of them are missing that.
what band is
Maybe
what's C band? What is C band?
I'm not even sure at this point, to be honest with you. Like I should look that up and get cracking on
Someone said the
that.
battery scream's horrible. Why is the battery scream horrible?
I
What's the
think it's
battery?
because it's that 144 hertz display at what resolution is it? At 6.78 inches. And well, it's only 1080, so maybe it won't be terrible.
I mean, I have 140 or 120 hertz enabled on my S21 Plus, and it does fine.
Yeah,
Like,
we're getting C-band is N77, 78, so let's check that. I don't even know if iPhone has that. Yeah, N77, N78, N79 even. Boom.
dude, this is
Boom.
this is definitely like a networking nerd's
Yep.
like wet dream of a phone, and it has a 4,000. Oh, it's only a 4,000 milliamp hour battery.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. It's got also 65-watt quick charging and it comes with headphones, so it can't be that bad.
Does it have a headphone jack?
Nope, I think it's wireless. That's what I was seeing just on the site looking at it.
I'll say
Um,
if it had a headphone jack, then it's definitely the move.
it's got Wi-Fi 6 and 6E. I mean, this just
And the
looks
new
outstanding.
Bluetooth, and it's got the new Bluetooth
Yeah.
as well.
HDR, the Adreno 660 GPU. Oh man, wow. Wow. Red accent, blue fingerprint reader on the
Skyjunk made a
back.
joke that the Skyjunk made a joke saying the phone is going to support Dish. Lol,
This becomes the Dish branded phone. No
dude,
wireless
that would be
charging.
cool. Oh,
I'm
someone
okay
said
with
there's no.
that.
Yeah,
I'm
I mean
okay
it
with
has
that. I will
fast
take,
charging, so
yeah, I'll take fast charging as a good compromise. You know?
I will just say though I actually use wireless charging more than I ever have now.
I use it, but I've realized I still plug in a lot. So I've been traveling, I've been plugging in, and when you're traveling, fast charging is way better than wireless charging because you're not going
Oh,
to bring a wireless
agreed.
charger with you. Yeah, and then in the car, if you want to play music and keep your phone juiced up, you're plugging in. So I will take the 65-watt fast charging over wireless charging.
But because I got the 12 Pro Max, I actually bought those MagSafe chargers,
Yeah, I
and
got a couple of those too.
and
Yeah.
that's literally like the only way I charge my 12 Pro. I don't actually ever plug it
Yeah.
in.
Oh my God. Dennis, I'm
I
so excited
do
about this phone.
I do actually want to get the phone though. Like I
You
think
know
we should get the
Sasha
phone.
is going to get one.
Well, I'm being serious. Like I
Will
think
this? Yeah.
we should get the phone and because like I'm willing to bet like the developer options on this thing too are probably pretty dank. Like I'm willing to bet they probably have a pre-rope because it's like a well they said it themselves it's an insider phone right like it's
Yeah.
geared
Yeah.
towards
Yeah.
like people that do testing and stuff like we do.
Oh my God. I'm in love. Well, how anything else you want to talk about? I'm in love with this.
What
So,
about the minimum broadband thing I told you about?
oh yeah, Sneed and Los need to get this. LOL. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's expensive though. I mean, Dennis, would you rather have like two or three Galaxy S21s or one of these?
Well, I'm not a fan of the Galaxy S21, so probably
Yeah,
this.
definitely. You would definitely go this. I would almost say like for network testing, multiple phones is really key because you can do the side by side. Like that's what I've been doing for the network speed tests on AT&T. But yeah. All right. And lastly, yeah, mobile broadband. Let's just kind of round out with that. What's going on with that?
So basically, the FCC, they've been having a big old long debate, as they usually do in politics, and they're fighting over what the new minimum broadband speed should be considered here in the US. Currently, to be considered broadband, you need to be able to provide a download speed of 25 megabits per second and an upload speed of 3 megabits per second. Now, there are some lawmakers that want to go all the way up to having symmetrical 100 by 100, which I am totally for. However, there are others that are being less aggressive in what to update it to, only asking for like 100 by 10. Even still, with 100 by 10, it would mean that only about 66% of Americans can be considered to have broadband internet access. Um,
Wow.
and I thought it was important to talk about because this has some real ramifications for what happens next in the future. Specifically, if the FCC decides to make broadband 100 by 10, it means that current cable operators can continue to exist as they do, and that is how the investments is going to follow. We're going to see just continued expansions of cable because it's cheaper to do, it's simple, it's tried and tested. Not saying there's anything wrong with cable internet, but the government should really be trying to move the needle to force people to either offer symmetrical fiber to the home, right? Because if it's symmetrical, you kind of have to have fiber, or to get cable operators to actually invest in their network and get on a hurry to, add mid splits and high splits to add more upstream channels to meet those requirements. So yeah, that is why I wanted to talk about that a little bit, and I wanted to get
Yeah.
your thoughts and input.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would love to see that minimum threshold increased. I think it makes sense as data becomes more and more important for doing everyday work, people applying for jobs, getting feedback, things like that, doing schoolwork now as well. So, yeah, I think for me, I think 100, I would almost say like 100 by 50, someone commented that. And I think that's a pretty good place to start. I feel like you're getting fast enough speeds where you can have multiple users using those connections for doing their Zoom calls and stuff. I think the problem is like if you do 100 by 10, the download's fine. But if you get on multiple Zoom calls, I think your bandwidth is going to start to feel a little congested.
See, that's not the problem that I have though. If you do 100 by 10, like I said, it means that cable operators can do what they're doing right now. If you do 100 by 50, cable operators can already do that. We saw Altice was able to do that basically across all their speed tiers, right? And
Yeah.
that's and that's basically the max that can be done right now with how current deployments are. Well, that's the problem, right? If we're going to see
Yeah.
private companies do investments, we want to be making investments that are going to be good for the long term so we don't have to revisit this in the future. Like if we say 100 by 100, we could be pretty certain that a lot of people are going to look at things and be like, you know what? It might just be better just to do fiber to the home. So if we decide to reuse the minimum term again, you don't have to replace that fiber. Fiber basically has like infinite bandwidth for all intents and purposes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not actually infinite, but it's something like 80 terabits you can fit over a fiber strand at this point, like with different tech. So like having fiber to the home is the ultimate solution. And if we're gonna be passing a bill with like what was it, $100 billion allocated or something, or was it
Yeah.
something like that allocated to expanding? We don't want to see that money going towards cable. Cable is good. Cable has potential, but is not the gold standard that fiber can be.
You're 100% correct. Yeah, I get what you're saying. And I think I agree with you. I guess, yeah, I mean, there would just be, if we increase the definition of what broadband means, there would some people who wouldn't have access to that. And I think, maybe that's okay if they're still getting usable speeds. But the ultimate goal is trying to future proof our country collectively, so it's easier in the future to really build out fast options for more people.
Basically, I mean, end of the day, the industry isn't going to move itself on its own. If we keep it at 25 by 3, it ain't going to
Yeah,
go anywhere, right? So
right. Yeah, so
we
you got to
have to,
push it up.
yeah, you have to. And I think 100 by 100 is fair. Like, I really, really do. I think if we do 100 by 100, that is a realistic term for like what broadband should be. You can do plenty of stuff, plenty quick on 100 meg. And obviously, just because it's 100 by 100 doesn't mean higher speed tiers aren't going to exist. These people still want money, right? So they're going to offer, like, if they're going to run fiber, they're probably going to still offer you gig, right? In an area that has it. So that is the
Yes.
move. And as someone that has, symmetrical speeds now, it is very life changing to a certain extent, depending on what you're doing. I don't
Yeah.
actually get my speeds all the time. Verizon actually, I found a fact sheet, by the way, where it says the range that I can expect. But I do always get within the range that I'm supposed to expect. And it's way better than, having 1,000 meg down and only like 35 upload. So,
Yeah. I mean, with what I do in file sharing and video editing, it's been huge for me. Like it's game changing for business. And one of the companies I worked at, Drone Genuity, it was called. We have to download footage and edit, and the faster the internet, literally the faster we can get work done. So it was pivotal for our company to be able to have access to high speed internet. And the faster we got it, we could really see that difference in turnaround times, which is really cool.
I want to address some comments real quick, by the way, that are kind of coming because we haven't really done too much of that
Yeah.
today. So Icarus mentioned that the problem with symmetrical is people disproportionately use more down than up. If you chop the spectrum 50-50, you bottleneck downstream demand because it's not optimized for practical usage. To that point, that is an issue with like cable-based internet, and that thought process really is being proven to show that it's not really right. Like, I'm just to give you perspective real quick. When I was using my Comcast internet, yes, my consumption was much higher than any content that I produced, but it's kind of like the chicken and the egg question. Is my consumption higher because I have more bandwidth to consume more things in the same period of time? Or is it just because I don't produce a lot of content that needs to be uploaded to the cloud? The answer is it was a little bit of both. Now that I'm not restricted by an upload constraint, I'm able to upload more things. Now, granted, my upload content primarily goes to me backing up stuff to Google Drive, but I'm doing a heck of a lot more of that. Like my data usage per month clearly shows that I'm using much more data. Like I used to average somewhere around a terabyte when I was using Comcast. I'm chewing 2 terabytes. And that's mainly because I'm just uploading a lot more stuff. That's where a lot of that usage is coming from. And it's also worth mentioning that COVID has just blown the gasket on how we operate in this world. More people are working from home than ever before. And there is more services out there now that are going to require upload speed to be there. We're talking about, game streaming services that exist, right? We're talking about remote work, Zoom conference calls, telemedicine being a thing. Like all these things are going to need the infrastructure just to kind of be on point. And I guess at the end of the day, I mean, it really just comes down to like, it's the reason why cable infrastructure needs to ultimately be phased out to some degree. Like, I'm not saying there's not life that's there. I mean, there's the potential to get it that you can get symmetrical speeds over it. It's going to require investments. It's going to require things like full duplexing to better utilize that limited spectrum. But ultimately, we want to work our way towards being fiber to the home. Like, fiber
Yeah.
is the gold
Yeah.
standard.
Well, Dennis, we have some sad news actually brought to you by Names Kazi, and it is that AT&T does not want fiber to the home. They're lobbying against nationwide fiber, saying 10 megabit per second uploads are good enough. And what's funny is the caption here is AT&T admits fiber is most future-proof, but wants US to fund slower networks. Yeah, so not the best. I think after hearing what you had to say, Dennis, I'm in favor of the 100 by 100 speed cap. I think that will help push innovation. But yeah, definitely a little discouraging having bigger companies lobbying against what I feel is important.
It's funny because AT&T literally had an article where they just recently posted about the benefits of fiber. In fact, I think it's actually mentioned in
Yeah.
this Technica article that you're reading right now. If you scroll up just a little bit. Well, yeah. Oh, well, you passed it. Oh, I think.
Let's see.
Basically, AT&T had a big old press hearing about how like fiber is like the must of the future. Like they had a big old thing talking about when they released AT&T Uverse.
Yeah.
But
Interesting. Yeah. All right.
do you want to answer some questions from the audience, or
Yeah,
you kind of?
let's answer some questions and then kind of round this out. I got sleepy. Happens to the best of us. Uh, let's see. Toronto plane spotting. Welcome. Glad to have you here. Hope things are doing well for you in Toronto. Asking, has an iPhone 8 Plus. Should you upgrade to the iPhone 12 Pro Max or wait for the 13? I would wait for the iPhone this year. I think it'll be called the 12S. Some rumor sites may have been referring to it as the 13. I think we're going to get the Snapdragon X60 modem, which is going to be a little bit better for cell phone speeds and performance. And I think we're going to get that 120 hertz refresh rate display, which I think is really going to make the iPhone feel fast, snappy, and responsive. I would wait. That's my recommendation there.
Oh,
Data speed cap should be illegal. Yes, I agree.
that was a response when I saw. Yeah.
Worst cellular network. Currently, I would say Dish.
Oh, well, networks that actually exist, probably T-Mobile.
Probably T-Mobile. I mean, yeah, it depends. It depends. Free Me, I think they are legit. I need to check it out. And yeah, wait for the 13.
I was gonna say honestly, it depends though. I mean, if you can get a good deal on the 12, it might
Yeah.
be worth. Stetson and Dennis, would you love the Qualcomm phone if you could somehow force carrier aggregation on any tower with multiple bands?
I'm not 100% sure what you mean by that. I'm gonna say I love it anyway. So yes.
Yeah, I mean we're excited about it, and just the way that it is, you know.
Yeah. Verizon is probably the most congested LTE network. I wholeheartedly agree. I really believe Verizon needs C-band and to continue using CBRS to try and alleviate congestion on their network.
Uh, I don't know. I think Verizon's network is holding up decently well, all
Oh,
things
oh,
considered.
Dennis, this is a pretty good one. We actually answered this kind of on our last show. Friend in rural area using local 4G LTE internet company that's making him pay a ton. What would you recommend for him instead? Verizon home internet over LTE, looking at that. T-Mobile home internet, looking at that as well. Or Los
Or
Mobile
Los
with
Mobile.
Netgear Nighthawk.
Oh, Debo out clarified. He said like imagine forcing 2 plus 66 plus 71. I mean that kind of happens already, like naturally, with NSA. Like that's already happening on like T-Mobile's network currently. If you were to
Yeah,
check like
yeah,
service mode, like I get like right now at my house, I have band 66 plus NR71. Like that's the connection that's happening on my S20.
yeah. I mean, I would like to see band locking, not necessarily for that, but for doing speed tests. Like I could basically redo my T-Mobile test and my AT&T test and just lock the bands and make sure all the phones are connected to the same tower to help make that or reduce certain variables to get the speeds. And I think that would be pretty cool. Phone do you recommend? Totally up to you. I really like Pixel 5 for the software. I like Galaxy S21 for the hardware. And I personally am an iPhone user because I really like the apps and the whole iPhone experience and iMessage.
Basically,
I think,
stick
yeah,
with the main brand. That's something that's going to work in the U.S. Don't go with like a Chinese company like a Huawei, basically,
yeah,
and
yeah.
you'll be happy.
And that's like I think my biggest gripe so far about tech reviewers is they'll review a Chinese phone and be excited about it because it has a cool feature, a unique design, being a little bit more edgy, but it's lacking the 5G and LTE band support that you need here in the United States for the phone to really provide just an overall great experience.
Stetso, I have a $20 AT&T Mobley and $15 Sprint Kickstart plus Sprint free line on us.
It just sounds like he's got a deal. Icarus,
Okay.
you have a deal. Yeah, that sounds really good to me. I mean, $15 Sprint Kickstart, like that's outstanding. And yeah, a Pixel Edition S21 or like a remember they had Google, it was the Play Store edition.
Yeah, I
Those were
remember. It was the there was the Galaxy S4 at the time, Play Store edition. HTC was still around at the time, and they had the one M7 Play Store edition or whatever it was, and I think LG even had a Play Store edition. I think it was like the V20 or something like that. Those were good times. Good times.
Good times. Good
But
times.
hi James, you caught us at the end of the show. Definitely make sure you watch the podcast that we just did recently, like today. It was definitely pretty good. And also make sure you slap a like and sub if you haven't. But I can tell Stetson is getting tired, and I know I'm keeping him up past his bedtime right now. So I'm gonna do him the favor and the solid of calling it. I want to thank everybody that came out, that watched us today, both for the live streams. I want to thank all of the super chats and support that we got both on the podcast and during the live stream. Your support does not go unrecognized and makes a huge impact on what we're able to do for the podcast and the show. If you're not already, highly recommend becoming a Patreon subscriber. There's a ton of extra content behind the scenes that you guys will enjoy. Plus, it'll help us work towards our goal of upgrading these live streams that we do to full, beautiful 1080p. So definitely become a Patreon member so you can enjoy the extra content and help make the podcast better. And also so that way you can also take advantage of some of these awesome stickers that we have developed and get your little icon badge that you saw from some of the supporters in the chat. Outside of that, though, Stetson, did you have anything else you wanted to say?
Yeah, YouTube picture-in-picture is now working for iPhone users. It's super exciting. So yeah, that's it. Dennis, thanks for doing the outro. That's it. Thank you all so much for watching. We look forward to talking to you in the next one. Peace.